Hello, welcome or welcome back depending on if you're new here. Today I have a sketchbook tour. I've never done one of these before, so I'm really excited. If you watched my last video painting at the Met, I mentioned that it would be the last spread in this sketchbook and that it had taken me a while to get through it because I was using it as more of like a fun experimental notebook. So I started this one in October of 2023 and finished it in February of 2025. I have several sketchbooks going at the same time and I only use this one sometimes. This is in Etcher Hot Press Everyday Sketchbook. The paper quality is great. I love Etcher sketchbooks. I just have realized throughout using this one that I don't love the experience of painting on hot press. I started using this in the beginning because I had recently started incorporating ink pen into my pieces and I wanted to get better at it, and I do really like the way that the ink flows on the smoother paper, but I don't enjoy the actual painting process afterwards. So most of the sketchbook was done using a combination of these and also my normal studio palette. I love having an experimental, like low pressure sketchbook because I'm not as precious about it. So some of the pieces in here are 5-minute pieces or color samples or brushstroke practices, you know, things that like there was no pressure for me to finish something or make it work if I didn't like where it was going, and it's nice to have that, to be able to try new things without feeling that sort of pressure. So yeah, let's get started. This first spread is from October 2023. If you've seen any of my content before, you probably already know that I love an art challenge. So this was what I did for October, like Artober / Inktober that year. It was hosted by the Pigeon Letters and it was a series of prompts of toxic plants. I chose to alternate between doing physical and digital pieces for this, so only half the prompts are in this sketchbook because the other half are on my iPad. And these were really fun. I, again, was really trying to start to get to know my ink pens, and I really enjoyed the prompt list. I think my favorite ones on this spread are the Desert Rose and the Tansy. I liked the way that both of those came out a lot, and I liked the way that I was incorporating the ink pen into them. So then the next set of prompts here are just the next few. Again, I like to do these sort of smaller pieces for art challenges so that I can participate without overwhelming myself. So this was the next set that were physical, and then this is the last page of prompts from this challenge. I liked the way the lantana came out here, and also, so this is one of the few, this buckthorn one is, so, and actually sort of on this one too, are ones where I did kind of enjoy the texture of the paper, the way that it came out. The smoothness here is highlighted in a way that I do like the way that it looks. I just, again, I don't love the experience of painting it. And I don't always love the way that it works or looks. So that's sort of this challenge. I liked alternating between the physical and digital for this one because it sort of switched it up a little bit. And now the next page. Okay, this is an example of why this is my experimental sketchbook. On the left side here, this was from a prompt from Just Carp, who's an artist I really like. The prompt was Snail Mail, and I actually adore this little guy. I made him into a sticker. I thought this one was so fun, and I liked that the granulation sort of actually showed up in here. Because sometimes it's harder to get that to happen on the smoother paper. And the flower pot, I don't know if that was from anything, but that's fine. And then the right side is an example of something that I clearly started and didn't really think too hard about, and that also didn't finish. Apparently it was from a 10-day challenge from the pigeon letters again, and clearly I started it and decided that it was not worth it to keep going, which I think was the right move. You know, I don't think there was any salvaging this one. So I definitely, that was that. This is another set of quick pieces. Sometimes if I only have like 10 minutes to paint, but I want to paint something, that's what I would go to this sketchbook for and do like brushstroke experiments. You know, I was playing with sort of melding the colors here. This one I wanted to see how it would look if I tried to do those sort of layered foggy landscapes. So this one, again, another quick just practice one. This spread was obviously an experiment with florals. I actually hated this originally when I had just had the watercolor on it, because I had originally just done this in watercolor, and I think that I had an extra pan of lavender that I had removed from a palette, and I was like, I have all of this paint in this pan and I'm not going to use it anywhere. So I think that's why there's so many lavender flowers on this page, because I would just wanted to use the color and wasn't really thinking too hard about how they would sort of work together. But anyway, when it was just the paint layer, I hated this and was super unhappy with how it looked. And then I went back later with ink pen and was like, let's see if I can salvage this. I think that actually this was really good for me to go back in with the pen, because it had me sort of thinking about the arrangements and the line work in a different way, especially because usually I'd go in with the ink pen first. So this was the opposite, and it made it a lot more fun for me. This is more of the last page. So again, I had gone in here with watercolor first for both of these spreads, and then way later I had been flipping through here and was thinking about how unhappy I was with them, and brought out the ink pen and did the same. So I like this one way more now with the ink pen in it. I think it also has something to do with like the contrast of the black pen. I think I didn't really get the contrast right with the watercolor originally, so it sort of provides a necessary contrast. This one is one of my favorite spreads in this sketchbook. This was the first time that I went to the Met to sketch, which I have a video on, I'll link it below. I also just went back a few weeks ago and did the same thing. That's the last spread in this sketchbook, and this was so fun. I went there originally because I love the Met, I love the painting galleries, and I love the frames that they have of the paintings. And I was trying to think of places that I could go that would be really great for practicing line work, and it was February, so it was freezing, so it had to be indoors. And I had been to the Met recently, again, was staring at these frames that I love and realized that that was perfect. So I went and I sketched and did the ink pen, and then it came back and painted it later. This was such a great exercise for, again, the line work and thinking about how I wanted to shade certain things or crosshatch or simplify some really complicated shapes. I was really happy with how it came out. I used my Gallo paints for this, so not my normal studio palette. And yeah, so that's this one. Again, one of my favorites. Next we have more flower attempts. Again, I went back with the ink pen later. This was in the spring. I was looking at all the cherry blossom trees. I think I just filled in some empty space with some of the flowers that were blooming. This originally was a watercolor layer, and then I went back. I didn't want to add the ink to these two. Actually, I really sort of had fun with these trees, so I left them as is, but I added the ink pen to the flowers. This was another art challenge hosted by B Creates over on Instagram. It was 100 days of tasty art. I was alternating between physical and digital pieces for this one as well. So these are fun, quick pieces that I was doing each day. I will say this 100-day challenge did get a little stressful, and then it ended up going right into World Watercolor Month. So I don't know that I would do that again, but these were a couple of the prompts. I was really happy with how this pair came out. And around this time was also when I was experimenting with oil pastels a little bit, so I did put them on the ice cream. Don't know that I would do that again because I don't think that it didn't come out the way that I thought they were going to, and also of course they smudged onto the pair that I did like. So yeah, that's that. These are more pieces from the Tasty Art Challenge. I was happy with these peanuts. The rest of these are pretty quick doodles. I don't think I spent more than like 5 minutes on either of them. I definitely did not wait for the ink to dry on the lemonade. This is a mix of World Watercolor Month and 100 Days of Tasty Art. I ended up alternating between the prompts that I liked better for this like time period. So that's this like sort of whole section of the sketchbook is more either food or World Watercolor Month or both, if I could make them apply to both. More World Watercolor Month. These were from when I first got this paintbrush last year from Beam Paints. It's one of their wilderness brushes and I love it. It's fairly distinctive, so if you look at any of my process videos from the last like year, you'll see me using this literally all the time, but this was my first sort of brush experiments with these. These are more brush experiments, and then I had more room on this page, so I did these this cat, which I did actually really like. He's really cute. Obviously I did this cat that I didn't bother to finish. This is from Peachtober. This was the Artober / Inktober that I did last year, and I wanted to do a lot of cats. I do have a whole video going through this one that I will link below, so I won't get into every spread or every piece from it now, but I was really happy with these. These were really fun. This is more Peachtober, and then this is the last Peachtober spread. This was a day that I was bored and wanted to play around with one of my flat brushes, so that was like a quick piece there. And then here is my last spread, which I just finished the other week. I went back to the Met and I did more frames, and I think that it's really fun to sort of compare. I think I did end up doing a few more like complicated ones the first time that I went, in terms of choosing ones that I needed to simplify, but I can just tell that I was way more confident in using the pens on this spread and simplifying some of the more complex pieces. I used my A Gallo palette again for this one. And that's the last official spread that I have here, but during this time I had a bunch of pieces that sort of went along with the ones in this spread, so I guess I'm sort of keeping them here because in my mind they're connected, because they were sort of fun, quick pieces that are on similar paper and that I also used as sort of like fun experiments or art challenges. So this was just a fun floral practice piece. I think I was thinking maybe I would use it as a card, and then I ended up not doing that. This was from World Watercolor Month. So was this set of paintings. I think these are actually, so for World Watercolor Month, I had a bunch of these and I threw out some of them, but the ones that I'm keeping in the back of this notebook because in my mind they sort of go together, you know. This one was actually a painting for my friend. It was her dog. This was like the experiment one where I was sort of laying out the sketch that I wanted and seeing if some of the colors that I wanted were gonna work. So this is not the final piece. This is like a quick test piece. I will add the final piece here. Obviously it came out much better, but I wanted to keep this as sort of like a record of the first sketch, you know, where it started. And then these are more from World Watercolor Month. So that's the end of these. And these will stay in the back of this sketchbook. Etcher sketchbooks are nice because they have this little pocket. I actually don't think that all of these fit back here. Okay. But for the most part, they do. Actually, will this? Oh, it will. So those are going to stay, in my mind, they sort of go together with this sketchbook experience. And yeah, so that's this fun low pressure sketchbook. It was really nice to work in, and there's a couple of spreads in here that I really love. Of course, there's a couple of spreads here that I can like tell that I wasn't actually trying, but again, that's sort of the point of a low pressure sketchbook, is that there's pieces in here that you do when you're just experimenting or when you're just really not as in the mood to paint and try harder, you know? So anyway, that's like, this was, I'm still proud of everything in this sketchbook and can see my growth throughout the sketchbook, which is really fun. If you've made it this far, thank you. I really appreciate you. Please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more from me. If you have sketchbooks or a type of sketchbook that you like to use as a low pressure sketchbook and you have a recommendation for what I should use next, because now I need to get a new low pressure sketchbook, leave those in the comments below. I would love to hear your recommendations. I'll link this sketchbook below if you like hot press. This is a great book. Again, I just am not a huge fan of hot press. I'll link the pens and the ink below as well in case you're interested in learning more about them. Please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more from me. And I will see you in the next one.